Nearly half of the entire American people are exhausted. Really, really exhausted. I'm talking about the kind of exhaustion that makes us all go numb and dumb about life. Tiredness that slowly builds into indifference, uncertainty, and lack of clarity. We've seen this exhaustion manifest in several ways and trends. One trend you've probably heard about is quiet quitting. This means doing the bare minimum work or resigning quietly. 44% of exhausted Americans who have heard this term take it to mean different things. Then there is bare minimum Mondays, another trend that suggests the whole world is tired and now prioritizes self-care. Ask anyone what day of the week they hate the most, and the most probable answer is Monday. In fact, 80% of people say Monday is their most stressful day at work, and 82% prefer a Tuesday to a Monday. Call it Monday meltdown or whatever. People are done with Mondays and are starting to rethink it with the bare minimum work. And most recently, there is the Great Resignation. Now this is exhaustion on a massive global scale. People have gotten so burned out that they decided to mass resign. It's unbelievable. More than 50 million Americans voluntarily quit their jobs in 2022, according to the US Bureau of Statistics. Voluntarily, willingly saying, "God damn it, I am done." To be honest, it's like from east to west to north to south, the energy is being completely drained out of the workforce. But it goes beyond just the workplace, doesn't it? This rising wave of fatigue seems to be seeping into all aspects of our lives. Think about your own experiences for a quick moment. How often have you felt so drained, so utterly depleted, that basic tasks like grocery shopping or exercising felt like impossible chores? We're talking physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion levels through the roof. In fact, some say we've entered into an entirely new era, the Great Exhaustion, a time when people are frankly rethinking their whole relationship with work, all to reduce this pervasive, draining sense of depletion. You can certainly feel the effects all around you, can't you? People giving up on hobbies, skipping social events, running on fumes both at work and at home. It's reached the point where even little joys that used to be simple now feel like they consume precious energy better conserved. But why, you may ask, is this mass exhaustion happening now? What underlying factors could be causing such a sharp rise in burnout across virtually all parts of society? Well, my friends, that's exactly what we'll try to understand today. Because, you see, when you look closer, there are three key often overlooked culprits largely responsible for our fatigue-filled current situation. They become so baked into our modern lifestyles that we largely take them for granted. But what if I told you those very norms were unintentionally sabotaging our well-being on a mass scale? Interested? Good. Before diving in, ensure you're subscribed to the channel and smash that notification bell with probably the last energy in you. I promise you, it will be worth it. One of the factors that are terribly eating into our energy and causing us fatigue is the unsustainable lifestyles so many of us have normalized these days. Lifestyles that are, in the actual sense, draining us of vital energy reserves. Look around you. How many people do you see prioritizing the basic human needs that help us thrive and maintain well-being? I'm talking about strong social bonds, regular physical activity, and a sense of purposeful work. Or have we just become part of a culture that live primarily for productivity and career ambition at the expense of, well, our own vitality as human beings? The sad truth is, we've normalized habits and routines that are utterly detrimental to our personal energy levels and quality of life. Social isolation, sedentary living, and jobs that provide no deeper fulfillment beyond earnings. It's no wonder fatigue and burnout are so prevalent. This reality stands in stark contrast to the blue zones studied by researchers. Areas like Okinawa, Sardinia, and Ikaria with the highest concentration of centenarians on Earth. Wait, the blue zones? What's the secret, I hear you ask? These cultures build their daily routines around the very human needs we've deprioritized, like plant-based diets, strong community connections, purposeful work tied to identity, and ample physical activity. Meanwhile, most of us exist in a state of chronic deficiency, starving ourselves of those foundations for sustainable energy and well-being. We've engineered entire societies that are the antithesis of what humans require to thrive. It's completely backwards. And just when you thought the state of our modern lifestyles couldn't get more destructive, along came the COVID-19 pandemic to truly send our exhaustion levels into the stratosphere, with widespread disruptions to routine and basic human rituals. The statistics show that 69% of remote workers said their sleeping patterns were derailed. Over half cited lockdowns, excessive screen time, and lack of regular schedules as culprits draining them of energy. You see, deep down, we're actually just creatures of habit. Rhythm, routine, ritual, these are how we modulate our energy expenditure as human beings. So, having these schedules thrown into complete disarray by the pandemic has been utterly damaging. When you overlay these jarring routine shocks on top of the already unsustainable hustle and grind lifestyles we've bought into, is it any surprise we've reached a point of constant exhaustion across society? Another major reason for this modern exhaustion epidemic is stress. We pass stresses on ourselves, but the ones we can control and the ones we cannot, constantly weighing us down. On the controllable side, think about all the intentional ways we voluntarily drain our own energy as human beings. Things like taking on excessive workloads, stretching ourselves too thin by juggling multiple demanding roles, and exposing ourselves to high-pressure situations that spike anxiety. For many, it's a long list of recurring excessive job demands, parenting duties, passion projects, and daring personal challenges all converging into one gigantic energy drain. And too often, we wear this perpetual busyness as a badge of honor in our hustle-orientated culture. But here's the problem. We can actually mitigate and manage these stresses if we intentionally safeguard our personal reserves. Tackling them head-on, setting boundaries, and sustainably working through them can build our confidence and resilience over time. The real draining factors are those outside stresses, entirely outside our own control, that grind us down through sheer helplessness. I'm talking about the barrage of distressing world events, economic turmoil, social unrest, and environmental crises continually bombarding our news feeds and minds. Local violence, global conflicts, high inflation, climate change consequences. These weighty collective stresses induce a profound sense of powerlessness and fear that eats away at our psyches. Yet, we cannot disengage from their presence in our lives or minds. It's almost like some spirits are throwing double punches at us. The self-imposed pressures mean we're already starting most days already running low on fuel from completely draining our personal tanks. Then, all the uncontrollable external forces outside of our influence suck away what little vigor we have left. Is it any wonder that over half of younger adults report being stuck, according to recent studies? The data shows a stark rise in constant burnout and depletion compared to previous generations. Signs of these internal and external factors were already weighing us down to record levels before the global pandemic came along and exacerbated everything further. When we're getting pummeled by unrelenting stress signals coming from all angles, some our own doing and others completely outside of our control, it's no surprise our tanks are running on empty. Our minds and bodies simply weren't designed to withstand this degree of compounded drain for the long haul. The third factor causing our exhaustion is financial pressure. These days, it's incredibly difficult for a single income to afford a middle-class lifestyle. Gone are the times when one paycheck could comfortably cover a house, a car, and support a family. Now, even with two incomes, many households struggle to make ends meet. You work hard, you put in long hours, but your income barely covers the basic living costs. Rent or mortgage payments, groceries, utilities, and other essentials quickly consume most of your earnings. The correlation between effort and achieving a desired lifestyle seems to be disappearing. It's frustrating when you give 110% at work, sacrificing personal time and energy, but still can't afford the things you've been striving for. Why are we working ourselves to the bone if not to attain a comfortable standard of living? The lack of correlation between effort and reward is demoralizing. And the statistics paint a grim picture. Studies show that financial strain is a major contributor to exhaustion and burnout across various age gaps and professions. When money is tight, the stress compounds, leading to physical and mental fatigue. On top of it all, we live in a culture that glorifies hustle, the idea of working relentlessly with no clear separation between work and life. This erosion of boundaries makes it nearly impossible to truly recharge and recuperate from the demands of daily life. It's no wonder so many people feel perpetually drained.